diabetes, heart disease, cancer, things like Alzheimer's.
We've got to ask ourselves what we need to do to make that happen. And that's what this entire program was designed to do, to become the most healthy and most exuberant, most vibrant that you can possibly be.
And we know that anabolic is living, creating cells, in the good way that, we want an anabolic condition, whereas catabolic is death, dying, and disease, and we want to prevent a catabolic system.
Correct. In other words, what you've just identified there as anabolic and catabolic are again elements of a human system that needs to be in balance. If it wasn't for the fact that we had both anabolic and catabolic, we would never be able to replace our cells within our body. We wouldn't be able to continue to live and grow. Life itself is all about a balance between building and tearing down. We're always building, and then we tear down. That's what we'll find as we go through the human system and talk about it at every level. It's about anabolic and catabolic. The reason that we want to improve the anabolic area of that formula and decrease the catabolic area of that formula is because our lifestyle and our diet heavily influence us to be catabolic, to be destructive, to be tearing down. And so consequently, we want to do some more in our life to encourage things to be anabolic or upbuilding. But it is always a balance that we should be going through. So we should always think of them as needing to be in balance. But because they're not, and typically and traditionally that is the case in our society, in one way or another, they're not. So the destructive catabolic measures of our system are influenced and enhanced by the way we eat and live. So we want to improve the anabolic condition of our human nature, most always. There are some exceptions in that we don't want to produce cells prolifically that end up being cancer and continue to grow. That's an anabolic process too that's gotten out of control.
Sure.
But from a healthy standpoint, we want a good balance, and unfortunately, we don't live that way. So we want to improve the anabolic condition of our system, which improves the energetic condition of our system, which gives our cells energy. And that's ultimately what we're after.
And rapamycin helps us give energy to our cells?
Well, no, the mTOR, or the molecular target of rapamycin, the mTOR system, is a system that encourages anabolic or proliferative cell growth. It encourages the conversion of amino acids into various cellular components. It encourages that kind of thing. But when it becomes dysregulated and is always the one that we're turning on, always the one that we're over-signaling, then that in itself becomes catabolic because it overproduces or overstimulates and begins producing a chronic inflammation within the human system.
Getting down to the cellular level, this is what our cells expect of us. This is what we need to give them. It's completely within our control to give our cells what they need. And in doing so, we're talking about completely eliminating diabetes, cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and a myriad of other diseases.
But indeed, it truly is there. I mean, the DNA is the code. If anybody asks me what I consider health to be, can I define the quality of good health? Good health is the application of the DNA program. If we would obey the code written in our DNA, then our cells would perform according to that code. It's us that absconds with that code. We're the ones that mess it up. We're the ones that refuse to apply ourselves to what the cells ask of us. We get a sense then of ourselves as a whole human being, but then we also get the sense that we are no longer able to, with disregard, do anything that we care to do to ourselves. We now must take a look at what we require to generate that quality of health, that application of the proper DNA code.